to the Daily Dose of Dallas, sans the day. But here you are, seizing the day. That's what your name should be, seize the day. Thank you for joining us on, God, it sounds so weird. Thank you for joining us on A Daily Dose, and thank you for allowing us to give you your flowers for Black History Month. So you looking all dapper. What's going on? You washed your face and everything, cleaned up your hair.
I always wash my face, don't start, right?
Well, you know, I want to thank you for joining us. And one of the reasons why we're doing this interview is I take a lot of customers' requests. And one of the biggest customers' requests was having you to be interviewed. And this is going to be a hard interview for me because I know so much about you. So I want people to learn about who you are without me forcing the narrative. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. And that's how we're going to try to follow this interview. But you just recently had a new television series come out using your photography.
Yes.
So congratulations on that. What's the show?
Thank you. The show is called Millennials. It premiered yesterday. I think it was yesterday, yeah. It was cool. It was cool being on set and I don't know. It was an interesting day that day. It was really loud because they were so happy and they had their little uncle jokes and auntie jokes and just going back and forth, and we did everything. And then I received the email like the show will be on yesterday. And I was like, oh, this is cool. This is awesome. But I didn't see anything. You only shoot the photos and then the company takes everything and then you get the final product. So it was fun. It was interesting. I was happy to see that. It was cool. It came unexpected, but I was happy about it.
So how did it feel when you saw the finished product? Because you know what you had to do to get that product. And then it leaves your hands, it gets retouched and graphics and all that stuff. And then it's thrown to you. How did you feel when you saw it?
I was extremely happy about it. Only thing felt a little weird was I didn't retouch it. So it always feels like, I wish I would have, I would have did. But I was very, very, happy with it. I can't complain. Like whenever a project comes along and it comes out, I'm always extremely grateful and always like, I'm one of those people. I'm always happy. So if I have an opportunity and something comes out, it's always overwhelming. It felt really good to see my work being out there. It was cool.
Okay, we're proud of you. So bravo.
Thank you.
Dae Howerton, who are you? And how did you get to who you are today as being a premier celebrity, fashion and beauty?
Oh, God. I'm a commercial and editorial fashion and beauty photographer.
Celebrity.
I'm also a music producer, although I haven't flexed that muscle in some time. Grammy-nominated music producer.
Platinum.
Okay. For as long as I can remember, I always was into art. Art always was a part of my life. I always was dancing and drawing, and music was always a big part of how I came up. Like my mom, every Sunday, we would clean the house and she would blast like music for hours. And I love Michael Jackson, even to this day. And that was my thing. And then on days, I'm from the project, so on days when we couldn't go outside or there was nothing to do, my mom bought this giant roll that was like bigger than like paper towels, and I would just draw and draw and draw. So art has always been a huge part of my life and always been like something that I leaned on just as a comfort. So if I needed to express myself, art was always there, rather it was dance or music or drawing. And fast forward, I'm doing the dancing, I'm doing the music and the drawing. And where I'm from, I was growing up in the projects, it was tough. And you get used to being called weirdo all the time. And because I was different, I was an artsy kid. You can't have an artsy kid and expect a normal life from them, but I was tough. That was one thing I had. I was tough. I wanted to be special, so they told me about the school for the special kids, which always made me feel like it was the X-Men. And And he was like, it's a school called Arts High where all the special kids go, where all of the geniuses go, all the talented people. And I was like, I'm going. And I remember there was this girl, don't kill me, but Takia Williams, and she was like, you ain't going to arts for what? You don't have a talent. You know, you don't have anything. And I was like, gotcha, bitch. And
So you did what Mike Lewis did.
absolutely.
I'll show you.
I'll show you. I have a big I'll show you button, and I love that shit. Like that for a long time. I used to feed off of that. Like it was like, it's all I needed to work. Like just, I'll show you. And I auditioned for arts, for dance and visual drawing and things like that. And I got in for both. And I remember like the whole school, it was a big deal because it's like, oh, all the kids, you know, you're in 8th grade, you have to audition to go to this school. It's so special. And I literally got in for both. And I remember my mom, I was in school, I just got out. My mom was like, she parked outside. And I'm like, what you doing here? Like, you know, what's happening? You know, I usually walk home from school. And so,
because that's normally not good news.
No, it's not. I'm like, oh man, why are you coming to school? This is crazy. So I sat in the car, and she had mail right there, and like in the little, I don't know, the little, you know, the console thing.
Between
so
the
she was
seats.
like, oh, you got mail, and it was open. I'm like, why is my mail open? So I looked at it, and I was like, why is it open? I was like, and I used to always, I'm telling you, as a kid, I always wanted white mail because it was like, oh, you're so special because you're a grown up and you got white mail.
You don't think that way now?
I don't, actually not. So I got my mail, pretending, and I looked at it and it said Arts High. And I read it and it was like, you got accepted. And I jumped out the car and I was like, yes! And I ran to Takia because I had to let her know I got in. I got in, not one, but 2 times. And it was this big thing. And I remember going home just feeling so happy.
So what is 2 times?
I got in for art and dance. So I had to choose like which major that I want to that I want to focus on. And so when I got to school the next day, they announced all the kids that got in. So out of 100-something kids, it was only, I think, 4 of us that got in. And they go, oh, you just say your name. Dae Howerton got in for, you know, art and dance. And I remember being so embarrassed, but then so proud. So then I went to Arts High, which is like the school for the arts. And it was so different because everybody was special. Everybody was special. So it's like everybody had talent. Everybody was weird. I remember walking in for the first day, and you see all these giant portfolios and kids singing through the halls and playing instruments, and it just was extremely overwhelming. Like, what the? Where am I? It didn't feel real. It was no, you know, in elementary sometimes you walk in line and stuff. People just was walking, and it's like you got to find this class. And I just remember feeling like, okay, this is where I belong. All these people are weirdos. All these people look different. All these different kind of hair colors and all this other stuff. It just felt like it was home as opposed to sticking out. I fit in. And then even when I got in, it was about standing out. So here I am in elementary where I don't fit in anywhere. Then I go to arts and I fit in everywhere. And I'm like, I want to stand out. So that was literally like, all right, I got to do my thing. I got to be the best.
So what did you decide, dance or art?
I went with art because I didn't want to be in no tutu. That was the stupidest thing ever, but that was the reason. When he told us what we had to wear, and I sat there in orientation. And
so the men had to wear tutus?
I just wasn't tutus. It was like the leotard, but it wasn't that. It was the whole point of my mind. I wasn't mature enough to say, it's what you need to, you know, what you need to wear. I wasn't mature enough to understand that it's art, you know, and the focus is on modern dance and focus on ballet, where I was a hip hop dancer and hip hop and jazz, and I was like, I don't want to do this. So I went to art, and I don't regret it because I wouldn't be who I am today had I been a dance major.
So let's talk about that. So you were taking dance outside of school.
Yes.
And I'm assuming when you said you took dance, there was classes or something involved that you...
Yes.
You didn't just wake up and walk into the streets and start dancing like Fame.
No, it wasn't like that, but it was I always was dancing since as long as I can remember. Dance was a part of my life. So my mom, like, anytime I wanted to learn something, I would look at TV and learn how to do it, and that's where it all started. And then my mom got me in some classes, and then that began the whole cycle of understanding dance. And when I got in, I think I got in, funny enough, haha, I got in doing Janet Jackson, Together Again. I think Shawnette Hurd had choreographed it, and I got in on doing that dance. And when I met her years later, I was like, "You got me into my school." You know, it was incredible. I don't know.
So let's fast forward. You ended up going to school for art. So
yes.
How did you learn your art? Did you take art classes and drawing classes?
I was taking drawing classes also prior to.
So mom put you into art classes, dance classes.
Whatever I was into, she was like, I got to find a class for it. I got to support you. Remember, it used to be a commercial back in like the 90s where they say,
if you can draw this thing.
I got that. And I think I got like an 85 or a 90 or something. And so then afterwards it was like, oh, you could buy this stuff to draw more. And she bought it. And I was like, Then we went, she put me in like comic book class or something. And I was learning how to do comics and ink. And from then it was like art and dance. Like you see in my life, music, dance, art always have been there. It's what I run to. It's a comfort for me. And so I'm in arts and I'm taking more classes, and now you have a major. So now you're spending 2 hours every day, a block class, either studying drawing visual art, which is drawing, art history, sculpting, ceramics, photography, and graphic arts and airbrushing. So photography was my bug when photography hit me. He handed me a film camera and he gave me a roll of film. We had to learn how to load it in the dark, and it just felt so natural to be. I don't know. It was something about it that felt so natural and so addictive to me. And I remember I went home and we had a roll, I think, of 10. We had a roll of 10, and I was trying to figure out what to shoot, and I would sit there and I would wait to shoot things. I remember one shot was of my cat. It was a nice silhouette shot. She was in the window, and the blinds coming through, and I took that shot, and photos of things that like meant something to me. And I was so, when you in your teens, everything is so emotional. So everything was emotional, and everything made me feel something. It was
still
so
does.
And so I remember being in art school, and I would lay down on the floor to see these, crazy angles, and you're looking at things so differently. And it just was one of those things that made me, it just made me think like, okay, this is what I like to do.
So when you were bit by the photography bug, did dance and all the other things fall to the wayside?
No, because at the same time, when I'm doing that, I'm still going to auditions, and I'm still dancing, and I start producing music at the time. So I had a dance team with my homegirls, my homeboys. We used to dance all the time, all in Jersey and in New York. And then my 11th grade year in high school, we went and took this thing called Monsters of Hip Hop, where you get to dance with the famous choreographers. And Marty Kadoka, I'll never forget this. And we were dancing, and like I told you, I strive to be the best every single time. And so when he saw us in the crowd, he put us over to the side and was like, we're doing this Justified tour, and you guys come to LA, and you come to LA, we could definitely, it was an opportunity to go on tour.
Explain the Justified tour. What does that mean?
Justin Timberlake was doing the Justified tour. And he was like, if you can get to LA, and we're starting the tour. I forgot what day he said, but he signed the photo that we took together or something. And I was just so happy about it. And I went home, and at the time when you're dancing, you're doing these intensive classes where you're dancing from 7 a.m. to like 7 at night. I got home, and I was so happy, and I was so stiff, and everything was hurting. And I went on to my mom, and I'm like, this choreographer named Marty Kadoka want me to come to LA, they doing a Justified tour. My mother was like, you can do whatever you want after you graduate. So I was like, what? You don't want me to be happy? You don't want me to be happy? I said that oh my God, that was my thing. I said that for weeks. Like, oh my God, you don't want me to be happy? I was so upset, like, oh, that could be me. And then at the time, this is when Justin came out. He had just did the MTV Awards, and all the stuff was going on. It was interesting. But I still was producing, and I still was doing photography. Wasn't that big then. It was like, okay, I have to wait because they only gave you rolls of film, and it was limited, and we had a class or whatever, so you had to wait and see if they had extra. And so I was definitely focusing on music and dance at that time. And then after I got the opportunity with that, it was like, I don't want to do it no more. Like, it didn't
You don't want
feel
to do what? You
expressive.
didn't want to do dance anymore?
It felt, my goal was I good enough? My goal was I want to be good enough to go on tour. And it was like, okay, if I can't go on tour, why am I auditioning? So I'm auditioning, but I can't go on tour. So it's like, why am I going to keep auditioning if I can't go? So I'm going to focus on my work. I'm going to focus on music production. I'm going to focus on my arts. And so that's what it was. And at the time, my music production is kicking off. This is hard. Me and my best friend in high school, Mike, we formed this group called The Classics. And during those times, it was the most amazing experience of just being. Mike was an upperclassman, and he went to arts too. And we danced together in the group, Raw with Chanel and Pagan and Bianca and all that. And so then afterwards, things changed when I got into production, because it was like another thing sucking me in, and it was great for expressing myself. And then we went through this whole world change, because I wasn't used to being with anybody. It was always me by myself. So here I am, I'm depending on someone, and I never got used. I could never get used to that. So I'm one of those people like, oh, you don't want to do this? All right, cool. I'm not. Well, we ain't gotta do it. And okay, leave me alone. And I was fighting to. If you didn't want to be my friend, I was cool with that. Like, all right, whatever. Leave me alone. Like, don't talk to me. I was very, very pushing him away, and he fought to be my friend, and I was very interested. And so after that, it was like, all right, let's do this. So we doing production, and we one of the hottest in Jersey.
So let's do this. So you didn't want to be in any group.
Not that I didn't want to.
Because you seem like you wanted to be a loner. You were more comfortable being alone.
It was, I'm always more comfortable being alone. This was the problem. People had disappointed me so much. So I was so used to doing things on my own. So if I was to ask somebody to do something and they didn't want to do it, it was like, all right, cool, I'm about to get it. I could go and do it myself. And so that's how I was. So if I wanted to go on audition, I didn't ask somebody to go on audition with me. I just went. So a lot of times I was just doing for myself and things like that. And even in like my house with my mom was really focused on my sister. So it was always me. So if I wanted to learn something, I learned something. If I wanted to do something, I did it by myself. I did a lot of things on my own. And so when here I am, when someone wants to be a part of your life and they're trying to be a friend, and I'm like, I didn't want them to get close to me. And he got close, all right, and it became that was my boy for years, and we did a lot of great things together.
So how did the music production pivot you back to photography?
One day, funny story, I had this team. I had artists and producers, and I wanted to get photos taken. And of course, this isn't the internet time, or it's the early internet time. And we wasn't on it like that. Like, I didn't know much about the internet like that. So I went to the newspaper and I saw the photographer in the newspaper, and I went and I typed his name in, and I was like, hey, photographer, I don't know his name, I would really like if you would photograph my team. How much would that cost? And I think he said $1,400. I was like, what? I'm not doing it for $1,400. Oh my God, look, I can do it myself, right? And so I got a little point and shoot. I went to Home Depot, asked my mom to buy me this light. She bought me this floodlight.
The construction lights, the hot lights.
Oh my God, I did my first shoot like that, and it was so hot, and I remember it constantly burning me. And it was okay though. I was like, oh, I got the shot, it's okay. And so I'm doing these photo shoots with my team, and
did you not want to pay the $1,400 because you thought it was expensive, or you didn't think it was worth it?
Everything was expensive at 19. Everything was expensive. I'm broke. I don't have a job. I would do stuff like I would try so hard to get jobs, and they would not hire me. And I was like, what is wrong with me that these people are not hiring me? And
I'll tell you why.
Don't start, all right? So, you trying to figure out how to make it. And at the time, my mom really wanted me to go to college, and I wasn't for it because I didn't like school. I thought besides my major, like it was one of those things. I was one of those kids where I would learn fast, so I would do everything to get an A, and then be like, okay, I'm bored. I was easily bored, and I was like, God, this is so boring to me. It was nothing to explore. It was always like, this is A, now here's a test. What is A? So it was really boring to me.
So you picked up your camera, you picked up a camera, and you started shooting, and you got the photos that you needed.
Yes.
So did that spark a bug back to you wanting to do photography?
Absolutely. It was that was the thing. So again, me wanting to be outstanding and standing out. Everybody did music in Jersey, but they ain't doing music like me. They ain't gonna do their promotions like me. We're not gonna have no trash photos like they got. So we have to have with me, you have to do something that's different. I like to explore. I like to do things different. I like for everything to stand out for me, and you have to make a mark somewhere. And so with my team, it was like, all right, well, I was producing the music, I was co-writing the music, I was recording the music, I was editing the music, I was doing the photo shoots, I was doing everything, doing the marketing for everything, designing the covers, designing all these different things, and every artist had their own identity, and I would focus on them like it was nobody else in the world, and I would make it.
So when you picked up the new camera, was it film or was it digital?
New camera was digital.
So let's talk about that. So you went from film to digital. Was it an easy transition? Did you just pick up your camera and just started clicking away, and everything?
Picked up my camera and just started clicking away. I knew
everything was perfect.
No, it wasn't. Oh, of course. Are you crazy? No, of course not. It was the most trashiest work. You know what's interesting though? That entire phase, because I'm big on people seeing my growth. I didn't delete it. It's still on Facebook. I took all of that old work and I threw it on Facebook. And then you start seeing these graphic things I started doing because I wanted it to be different. And so I used to strive to do graphic work because it'd be different. So I was that dude in Jersey, like, yo, he do the dopest graphics and I'm doing music. And so I would do a song and then do the graphics for the song and do the album artwork. So that was it. And so in my mind, I was like, you know what? Music and photography was this, like, it was like yin and yang to me. And so I said to myself, oh, it'd be awesome. You know, me and Mike, the classics, we're going to do these. Our thing was we're going to be on GQ. I don't know how I'm going to shoot it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the camera, and then we're going to do a photo shoot. We're going to be in GQ. We're going to be sexy. We're going to be dope. We're going to have all the girls. It's going to be so fly. That was it. We're going to be so fly, and I'm shooting it, and they can do the interview, but I'm going to shoot it. And then it's going to be celebrating our music.
So let me ask you a question. Did you ever have a GQ shoot?
I've never had it. Actually, you know, fast forward. Remember when I met you, I was like, you got to shoot me and Mike. We got to have this shoot. We got to have this shoot. I want you to shoot us. And I was planning this shoot, and I didn't know what I want, and I never could get to what I wanted. That was what I was doing, the GQ shoot.
Okay. So let's, as we say, let's unpack this. So you started without any formal training now. Now you're doing your graphic work and you're doing your photography. How did you get from all of that to here? Because you're doing rap album covers and you're doing composite works, and now you're doing this magnificent beauty and fashion work. You didn't just wake up one day and go, oh my God, I'm a fashion photographer. How did that happen?
When I was younger, just to go back again, my grandmother used to always bring me magazines. And she had like this unlimited subscription of whatever she bought. So I would go to her house, she have a second magazine. She's like, take what you want. I want them out of here, you know. So I would take magazines. And I was the kid where, you know, when you go to the supermarket, you actually get one thing and your mother will let you get one thing. I would want magazines. I always loved Vibe magazine. I always loved Vogue magazine and Elle. And
you said Vibe?
Vibe.
And Vogue, okay.
But remember, music, Vibe, music. No, at all. If you look, Vibe, music, Vogue, art. So it was always this thing of it's you constantly see that in my life. It's always music and art, music and art, music and art. It's always been my thing. So I used to love how Vibe magazine was so big and it was so beautiful, and it had all my favorite stars in my room, like from ceiling. There was no space in my room where there was a white wall. It was filled with photos, and I remember they saying, one of my friends asked me, "You don't feel creeped out that all these people are looking at you?" I said, "No, they're looking at the next star." And then it was a thing for me. I was like, "This is great. This is incredible." I just loved it. I love the whole life of what I thought being a music producer was and being a photographer was. In my mind, it was this life of fantasy and Hollywood and these big lights, and it was things that I wanted so much, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it one day. I'm gonna get it. So I've always had this thing in my life where if you work hard, you can get whatever you want. That's like the key. It's like not being lucky, but working hard to get what you want. And so I said, all right, I'm gonna dedicate my life to working to get what I want.
So you still didn't tell me how you went from doing these
Fast forward.
Okay.
Fast forward, the Classics did some amazing things. Universal wanted to sign us. They flew us out to LA, and I saw LA. I'm still shooting at the time, but I'm not shooting any type of fashion or stuff. I'm just shooting as a hobby and understanding the camera. Came to LA, saw it, loved it. Flew back to we were supposed to go to, well, we did. We weren't supposed to go. We went to some award show that they flew us out here to meet and network. Flew back to New York.
That was your first time on a plane?
First time on the plane,
Okay.
First time in LA. Universal was basically courting us. They had us meeting all these different execs, and lawyers. So they about to sign us. And then some guy came and destroyed the entire New York Universal Music Publishing Group. And then all of my connects there all were fired. It was just the whole floor was gone. So in the meantime, we're no longer the ones that they're looking at. We're no longer the ones that they want anymore. It's like, oh, well, I don't know what you guys are going to do. My manager moved to LA. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. So now we're trying to work. At the time, I was moving a lot. I remember in 2 years, we moved like maybe 5 times. And I'm broke. I'm, again, trying to get jobs. And the jobs I'm getting is like graphic jobs. Now I'm working.
Were people hiring you as a photographer as well?
No, yeah, they were, but it was like local stuff, and I wasn't getting paid a lot. And I remember trying to buy the 5D Mark II, and I used to do these little $75 photo shoots and saving to get my camera. And I remember my mom needed the money for rent, and then one day she and my sister came together and they bought me my 5D Mark II. It was incredible. I remember being so happy. It was dope.
So you were doing your graphic work and you went to California and you came back and you couldn't get the camera work started, and then mom and sis buys you this camera, then you was ready to shoot for Vogue?
Again, not. No, still not. At this time, we had to move like 4 times, and I'm sleeping on my mother's couch, and I'm working at Vibe. Remember, I wanted to work for Vibe, but not as the graphic designer. So I'm doing the covers and layouts and things, and I'm sleeping on my grandmother's floor, actually, and Vibe asked me for a rate. They asked me how much would I charge for retouch some images, and so I went and I hit up Angel Cologne, and I asked him like, hey, how much should I charge, for this? And he was like, I don't know about pricing and stuff. You should hit this dude up named Dallas. And I was like, oh, okay, he's go to my friend's list named Dallas G. Logan. I added Dallas G. Logan. Boom. And so I go, oh, hey, Dallas, it's this guy named Angel. He's my friend, and he wanted me to ask you about pricing. Vibe magazine is asking me how much to charge for the images to retouch. How much should I charge? And then you say, well, what do you want? And I go, if I knew, I wouldn't be asking you. And then you say, well, what are you worth? And I'm like, again, if I knew. So we had that exchange. And after that, I was like, all right,
everybody knows that's how I talk. So
this is some bullshit. So that's how it was. This is some bullshit. All right, whatever. I don't care. So I go to Vibe and I'm working, and I think I charge them like $25 an image or something.
You do realize that wasn't the price, right?
You realize that you ain't telling me no answer. So
I did give you the answer. I really did. The answer was, what is your worth? So you were worth $25 as far as you're concerned.
Right?
Am I right or wrong, people?
No.
I asked you your worth, and your worth was
Lord.
$25. So let me ask
Fast
you now.
forward.
Let me ask you now. How much would you have charged Vibe now?
Huh?
How much would you have charged Vibe now?
Look, don't start, because Vibe was cheap. They was running everything on the budget. Don't get me started.
No, that wasn't the question I asked you. Not what they would pay you. I asked what you would have charged. Knowing what you know
For
now.
what I was doing per image, maybe $75 to 100, 150.
Okay. That's good. So now
So
at Vibe and you're their retoucher, I'm still trying to get you to Vogue. Like, when do you start doing
I'm
beauty and
telling
fashion?
you. So then afterwards, I remember I posted a photo with me pulling up my ribs, and it got like a weird response of people were like hating on it because I was like half naked or something. He was like, "Do not let them change what you do," and I was like, "Oh, I'm not." So I remember looking at the message like, "Oh, you don't know me. All right, so let me explain to you who I am." I was like, "Oh, this shit don't do nothing for me. Like I do and say whatever I want. Nobody can tell me shit." And so we started to talk, and I remember speaking to you, and you were like, "You're cool," and we started talking back and forth, and we was talking about photography and careers and what do I want. And I remember telling you everything that I wanted. I was like, "Yo, I really want to work in this," and you was like, "Oh, okay," and you was like, "Let's meet up." And I was like, "No, I ain't got no haircut." You know, my haircut, no haircut. And he was like, "Yo," like, he was like, "It's okay." I'm like, "And I'm broke. I ain't got no money right now." And I had a rule: I don't leave the house if I don't have any money. And I remember
Your mother taught you well.
Yeah, and so I remember he was like, "No, let's do this." And I remember we went to Barnes and Nobles and we pulled up all of these books off the shelf, and there was so many books because you had a whole bunch of books, like 2 chairs to the left, to the right of you. I had 2 chairs to the left of me, and we went through it. And then you were like, "Well, what do you like?" And we were starting to go through all of these images, and we were looking at images.
And these were photographers you never even knew about.
I knew their work, but I did not know their name, and so I remember feeling like, this is incredible. This is incredible. This is incredible. Okay, cool. And then afterwards, he was like, I got to shoot. We left then. I remember, got me back to Jersey. He was like, I got a shoot coming on Saturday. You should come. And I was like, all right. And I met you. And you started to do these lessons and things where you would teach, but not. You had a way of teaching. Like you would allow me to be myself. You never tried to change me. As weird as I am, and as far as I try to take it, it never was like, you can't do that. But let me help you stir this logistically. Let me help you fix this. Make it make sense. And so here I am, and I'm like, I really want to shoot beauty, and I'm pissed off because at the time I'm going to all of your shoots, and I'm your assistant. And it was a lot. I was your assistant, and you just had me like doing everything, and I was learning so much just by seeing you work and seeing you like be with your clients and how you were with the models, and you paid so much attention to detail, and it was like, this is incredible. And I remember I wanted to shoot, and then you said, you tell me how to do it, talk to the models and how to approach a model, an agency or something. None of the agencies wanted to hear me. And we had a campaign, I remember, and it was a model there by the name of Lola DeClet. And you was like, ask her. I'm like, I really like her. Whatever. We was cool. You said, ask her if she want to shoot. And I was like, okay. I asked her. She was like, she want to.
Lola's
and
dope.
You were like, okay. I'm like, oh, I got a model. Huh? This is crazy. I got a model. This is all right. This is all right. And then you were like, okay, let's get hair and makeup. I'm like, who can I? I've been to so many of your shoots, so I knew your teams. And you was like, ask one of them. You're cool enough. And I remember I asked Damien Gerardo.
Dope makeup artist, one of the best out there.
He was so incredible. And we did my first beauty shoot. And I remember we did the shoot. We did some beauty. We did some fashion. And I remember everything was over. And he was like, how do you feel? And Butch styled it. And he was like, how do you feel? And I was like, I can't believe I just did that. And I kept looking at the images. And I was like, I just did that. And I remember retouching the images, and I put it out. And then everybody, the response was so different. They were like, this is incredible. So I'm like, oh, wow, I did this. And for a long time, I looked at that work like, it was special because Dallas assisted me. This is it.
Oh, you
I,
had a cheat code.
I had a cheat code.
But
Although
you realized I did nothing.
you didn't do anything, but you were there. It was different. You were there, and it was like, I don't know. It felt like it was my work, and it didn't feel real. Then afterwards, I remember you being extremely hard on me, like, now go and do it. And it was like, all right. And then from that point on, I ran. I was like, all right, cool. I'm trying. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna reach out to these people. I'm gonna, go on Model Mayhem. I'm gonna have these shoots, and I'm gonna do this. And that was on my way. Like, you really, really, you put your foot and kicked my ass out the door. Like, I didn't have a choice.
What was your aha moment with yourself then? Now that you stepped over that line, what was your aha moment? What was your biggest, like, oh my God?
The biggest oh my God was you had the same thing that my mom had, that my favorite teacher, Miss Cindy, has had. Y'all always say, just work hard, do it, go. You want something, go do it. And so you had that same spirit. So it was like, all right, I can do anything I want. I can get anything I want. All right, I'm spoiled. I want everything, and I'm going to get everything. And so I want it, and I'm going to get it. I just have to work hard for it. Fuck, I got it. And so after that, everything changed. The makeup artists started responding. The agency started responding. The models were like, oh, my God, I've been watching your career. And it's like, what career? I just started this. So it was very different for me.
So what has been your hardest lesson in this journey once you decided to step into the professional world?
My hardest lesson, and I still go through it all the time, is I have trust issues out the wazoo. And it's because of my lost relationships with my partner Mike and my teams back in those times. So I learned from you you always say things like ask for help. You will say things like ask for things that you want, like ask for it. And I didn't like that. Remember, before, I was so independent. I didn't want to ask anybody for anything. I didn't want help. I didn't want anybody to do anything for me. It was always like, I'm gonna do it. I'll help anybody, but I didn't feel like anybody would help me because they didn't. A lot of times it was a lot of bullshit, and it's like I'm a tourist. I can smell bullshit from a mile away. So it's like, I don't like bullshit, so I'm gonna do it myself. And I think with you, again, I'm in a situation where I'm not independent. I'm not in a space where I'm independent. I got you, and you're like, well, why don't you ask for help? I'm like, oh man, you know what? I'm gonna start doing that. So the biggest lesson for me was ask for help. Talk to these people. Talk to the people. And then everybody who I talk to and I ask for stuff, they always give it to me. They never tell me no. And that part for me always felt lucky. It was like, you lucky or not, because people never tell you no. Never tell me no. Like, I always used to welcome the challenge of, let's see if I can get this person to tell me no. And I would say something stupid or ask for something that's outrageous, and they never told me no. So you made me more comfortable with not. My biggest lesson was ask for help, ask for things that you want, and then the world will open up to you. They give you what you want. You have to ask for it.
So now that you're on your way, you got the agencies, you got the models, you got hair, you got makeup. You're on your way. But then people wanted to learn from you.
Yeah. So then at that point, people wanted to learn from me. And I'm like,
now, these are the people who were turning their backs on you when you were asking for help.
Especially in Jersey.
Now they want to learn from you.
Especially in Jersey. It was really interesting because I'm not petty like that. It was like, okay, I'll teach you whatever, but I'm not petty like that. I'll teach you, but we have to share together. It has to be together. Like, I can't be teaching
as
you
we hear,
and you not
fair
teaching
exchange
me.
is no robbery.
Yeah. And so when people didn't want to share anything, here I am. I'll share to you my techniques. I'll give you how I do stuff, and I'm asking you for a connect. Like, he introduced me to that set designer because I would love to do a set. And you're like, no. So it's like, I'm not sharing mine. You're not sharing yours. It's not fair.
But I've always taught you to share.
Yeah, you absolutely did. And no, I did with people. No. When there were people like who came and asked me about photography stuff, I had a bunch of mentees. They would come and they would ask me stuff, and I would go and I would teach them and give them as much as I had at the time, and just give. And I didn't hold anything back because again, there was nobody except for you who held me down and gave me the information. Like when I was coming up, the older photographers didn't give a fuck about the younger ones. They didn't care about us, and so I made sure that if I had a little piece, if I can just offer some advice to somebody, it can help them out, and maybe they don't have to go the route that I went through. I did a lot of stuff. I did a lot of stuff in a little bit of time. I was a lot of people. I lived so many lives in this little bit of time, and think about it. I was a dancer, choreographer, graphic designer, a DJ, a freaking mixer, a producer, a photographer, a retailer. I did all these things and had all these lives because I'm a hustler and I want things and I want to make sure everything is tight. So I lived so many lives in this little bit of time where it was like, who am I? And they used to have this saying that used to hang over my head was jack of trade, master of none. It's like, nah, bro. I need to be nice in everything. I need to be incredible in everything. I need for people to understand who I am. It sucks. And I think it's because, being where I'm from, where you don't feel seen. Like, I was doing stuff to be seen, to be special, to be known for being special. I didn't have that.
Why?
I don't know. I don't
What
know.
happened? What was happening in your life that you felt that you had to be seen?
I feel like it was a lot. I feel like it could have been, again, my mom was a working mother. She was a single parent. And so when my sister needed my mother more than I did. So I wasn't getting attention there. My father, who had like 19 kids, not joking, no exaggeration with the number. I remember this one time, oh my God, I hate telling the story. I was going to feel away. He wasn't around. And one day he called, he said, oh, I want to stop by. I want to come by and surprise you. I'm like, this is different. He's never around, right? And so he came by and he had these 3 little boys. They jumped out the car and they were like, Daddy, Daddy, or whatever. So he came and he was like, I want to introduce you to your brothers. And while there, I was like, hi, or whatever. And I was like, oh, I was really overwhelmed. I know he could tell I was weird.
How old were you?
I remember being out of high school, so it could have been like 1920. It could have been 2021.
Okay.
And I met these little kids, and they were really, really like, little adorable kids. And then I remember leaving. I was going out we was going to do something. And I remember being in the car. I can't make this up. It was my boy, my friend Cherie, she was driving. Linda was next to me. Tahim was here. No, Tahim was next to me. Whatever it was. And I remember breaking the fuck down. I broke down like nobody else. I broke down. And it felt like, again, what about me isn't good enough that you couldn't be in my life, but you could be in these kids' life? Like, I call you Larry, they call you Daddy. Like, what about me that wasn't enough that you wouldn't want to be a part of anything? So I always had that weird moment of not being enough. And so
did you feel invisible?
Most of the time. So even now, I'll do something great, and they'll be like, "Oh, Dallas did a good job." Like, what the fuck? It's so interesting, and it's like sometimes I feel that way, and then I came to a point in my life where it was just like, continue. God is trying to teach you something, and you have to pay attention to stop feeling it, to stop feeling, go a different route. I'm not going to try to stand out that way. I'm going to stand out, just be excellent. And
so you're feeling invisible. You're feeling invisible. You're not feeling worthy. I told you I had to do this, Dae. Sorry. I wish I can comfort you. I can't right now.
Keep going.
Nah, this is what you have to. We discussed this before. All of us who are artists came to art because of trauma. And this was your trauma.
It's dope.
And because of this, it made you amazing.
So yeah. Here I am. So
Here you are.
So this point, where was I? So we living in Brooklyn, constantly shooting. And I remember music not feeling the same because I had a passion for it, and like I said, I wanted to live forever through my music. I want things to be incredible and through my music, and it felt like it was dying because, again, I'm in a situation where a person don't care as much as me, is not putting in as much effort as me, but is receiving all the benefits, and I'm looked at like I'm the one who is lacking. And so I remember when I first met you, you was like, if you could live anywhere, where would you move? And I said, LA. And you said, me too, let's go. And I remember we were working at the time on Bryson Tiller's project. And you said, go to LA, find us an apartment, and we gonna move. I moved. I went there for a month. I was there for like a month working, trying to find an apartment more than working on music, because at the time, the situation wasn't it wasn't ideal. It wasn't a good situation. I found an apartment. I flew back to Brooklyn, and we packed up. We was doing shooting because you had booked so many shoots. I remember you was shooting like, oh my God, like 5 times a day. And
Every day for that month.
Every day, and we trying to raise money to move to LA. So then afterwards, at the time, Char was my mentee, and I'm teaching him all these different lessons, and we were traveling doing classes, and I remember asking one of my friends, DeMarco, what we would need if we moved to LA if we want to work, and then he told me, you need to shoot celebrities, and I was like, what? I don't know nobody. Wait, I know 2 people. I know Idris, and I know Michael B. Jordan. And so I remember reaching out to Idris and saying to him, I called, the number didn't answer. I freaking emailed, kept bouncing back. And so I'm like, shit, how can I get to him? I was like, let me try this one thing. I reached out via Instagram. He was like, Dae, I need you. And he was like, let's do this. And that's when he flew me and you out to London. And we went to London, and it just felt so good to be someplace again.
It felt good not to be invisible.
Not to be invisible, to be seen, to be I brought me there to do what I do. He hired us to do what we do, which was amazing.
No, we're gonna correct that. He hired you. He didn't hire you. I came along.
You're right.
He didn't know me from a can of paint, as Audrey like to say.
The most amazing thing was being out there, because I always loved London in my mind, and I should do the accent all the time. I can't hear it. I can't right now. Joking around and stuff like that. And
how did it feel not to be invisible for that moment? How did it feel that you were hired on the quality of your work and the quality of your hard work and the amount of work and the body of work that you've created?
It felt amazing. It was one of those things where I never forget when he walked in, and we in there with Rankin. So let me fast forward the story. We in there with Rankin. Rankin is here, and he had like 29 assistants, and they running around or whatever. And you got not set designer, the clothes,
and the documentary people,
and he walks in, and he shakes everybody's hand, and he see me, dang, and I'm like, oh shit, what's up? And it felt so good just to be around such a genuine person, and he literally has been one of the people who just like welcomed me like, oh, you're dope. And it felt good. It felt good to be there. It felt good to be in London. Instead of me being your assistant and you flying me around everywhere, I flew you around. So I was like, yes,
I was the assistant.
you flew me around the States. I flew you to London. I beat. So it's like that. So it was great. And then the project came out. I was so blessed to be a part of that project. I was so happy to be a part of that. It was a good feeling to be around and to be in London, which felt amazing. We came back and then moved to LA. It was very
So now
interesting.
we're in LA. Let's fast forward. We're in LA now.
Mm-hmm.
What was the difference in the culture from New York to LA? And is it better or worse?
It's neither. It's different. I in Brooklyn, my chapter in Brooklyn, I had grown as a person. I've grown as a man. I had family in Brooklyn. It was tough. It was tough. It was emotionally challenging. Going to the agencies were like, they were a lot more tougher, but it was worth it. I loved it. I was so used to people being so hard. And it was like, I can't even say hard because everybody was like my mother. So that thing, that whole working hard and this isn't excellent, they made you be great because they will push you like, oh, this is okay. And it's like, that's the worst thing you can say to a person like me. This is okay. It's like, oh, what the fuck? So here I am in Brooklyn and I'm just working and not saying anything, just working and working and working and working and working and working and working. And I get to LA and everybody's a little more laid back. Everybody's a lot more chill and everybody's like, this is just different. And then we went from shooting models to shooting celebrities, and that was a change. And I appreciate LA as much as I appreciate Brooklyn because of Brooklyn, I'm able to flourish in LA. Because of Brooklyn, I'm able to do what I'm doing and get these opportunities. I'm so blessed to be. I'm so blessed. Period. And I don't take anything for granted. And I don't know. It calmed me down. LA definitely calmed me down. It made me start to, instead of talk more, I listen more, and I'm able to figure some things out just by listening. And it made me understand people. It made me.
So the lessons you got in New York, which taught you to be a man, you applied in California.
Yeah, and then it worked because in New York it was like, oh, that person's not for you, and that person's fucked up. That was a lesson. That's fucked up. You stay away from them, right? And then LA was, that person isn't right for you because some things happened in their life where they couldn't be right for themselves. You have to pay attention.
How
he's
fucking
like this.
wusa are you now?
Yeah, it changed everything because now I'm not like, it takes me just a little bit longer to get to fuck out of here. Fuck you. It takes a long time for me to get there. But now I'm just like, I try to understand things and try to be I'm a lot more patient. I'm a lot more, always been honest, but I'm a lot more, I just want.
Let me tell you, a lot more honest and a lot less truthful, meaning you don't got to give everybody your truth.
Nope, not at all. It's not for everybody. Sometimes I learned that sometimes the lessons that God gives you is for you. It's not for everybody else. Like, it's not for everybody else. It's for you.
So we're at that point of the interview, which I do for everybody, because you're just about done. So you survived this. You survived this.
I'm the only one that fucking cried, though. Like, what is that about?
So let's talk about this. What are 3 adjectives that describe Mr. Howerton and why?
I am persistent.
That's 1.
I'm a dreamer.
That's 2. You did 40 interviews this month. You mean to tell me you can have this shit locked in?
I wasn't thinking about it. I try not to think. I'm persistent and I'm talented. I would say that.
Okay. Let's talk about persistent. Why?
I'll work and work and work. If you know me, I'll stay up to 4 o'clock in the morning working and working and working towards something that I know is going to work out. I really, really, really wanted to be on Vogue and Elle and Harper's. I want to
And
be in those
and
magazines.
you know it's gonna happen, right?
So yeah, I know, and it's I'm working towards it, and I'm working, and so I'm not gonna give up until I get it.
2, dreamer.
I literally dream a lot, and things that I want, I've gotten everything I wanted. I wanted my medium format camera. I got it. I dreamed it. I got it.
You wanted a dog.
I wanted a dog. I dreamed that I got it. I wanted to live in LA. I dreamed that I got it. I wanted a Grammy. I got nominated. Cool. I'm working on that Grammy.
And most of all, you don't want to be invisible, and you're not now.
You trying to make me cry. Keep going. Go to the next thing. No, it's not working. Go ahead.
And talented.
I do a lot of things greatly. I don't fuck around when it comes down to if I start doing it and I say that I do it, I'm doing it, that means I do it well and I know it in and out, and I'm gonna do it enough where you're gonna say he's one of the best to do it. It was a time I used to separate photography and music, and in music it was like, oh, that dude's dope, and in photography it was like, that dude's dope. I never combined the world, so I did a lot of things. I'll tell you, in those lives that I've lived, I did a lot of things dope.
And here's the last question, then I have to let you go. Sorry, we've had you for a while. What's in your bag?
Which one?
When you go to that photo shoot, what's in that bag?
Yeah.
You got like 4 cases here. There's one right behind me right now. So what's in your bag?
A camera, usually a wide angle lens, a normal lens, and a telephoto lens. I keep a lot of my tether cords, chargers.
What cameras are in your bags? You know they want to know.
I have a Phase 1. I have a Hasselblad. I have a Canon. Got a Fuji. So it's like, which one? We got a lot of gear. And I just keep like real weird stuff in bags, like what do you call it? A leave. Medication for like just in case your allergies go off.
No, my allergies, right? Mine. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this last question.
Okay.
What would you tell your 16-year-old self, knowing what you know now?
That's a good one, Dallas. That was good.
Yeah, nobody else got that one. Ah, got that bitch.
Okay, so 16-year-old Dae, who was dancing at the time. He was auditioning for like Missy, and then I come to him and I would say, take more risks. Take more risks. Heal yourself. Take more risks, heal yourself, and nobody would tell you no. Nobody would tell you no. That's it. Like, cause if I knew what I knew now, I would be on. From standing out in front of Def Jam for months trying to get upstairs so A&R can hear me, to doing photography with you. Like, you never told me no. To when I wanted to get with the model agencies, it was never no. It was always not right now. And a lot of times I stopped myself because in fear of what someone else would say or think, or it was a fair thing. And I would do this thing like whenever I say fuck it, and stuff like that, I can do everything. But if I didn't say fuck it, I was like this. I didn't take the risk.
So fuck it was your shield.
It still is. I do it all the time. Like, I literally, I'll be. We in the studio. We're shooting. We had Lenny S there, and I was like, I have to talk to this man. He was like, go, and I was like, wait, I'm not ready. I have to say fuck it and then do it. That's my thing. Then go and do it. I think the bravest thing that I'm doing is living my life, living my truth, doing what I want. and doing it and being happy about it, and I'm not afraid. I think I'm more afraid of not doing than to actually do it. I won't forgive myself if I don't try. Like, so I'm at a point where I can do everything and I can do anything great. I'm a killer shit and nobody can tell me different. And I fall in love with photography every time I pick up my camera. I fall in love with photography every time we speak about it. I fall in love with photography every time I'm able to express myself and to see my ideas through.
Well, I'm going to have to stop this interview before we crash. I want to thank you for allowing us to give you flowers. I want to thank you for allowing me to interview. And I need to thank everybody out there for forcing me to do this interview because I didn't want to do it. That's why I put them on the last day of the month. We're at that 5-second place to get our thumbnail. So get ready. That's your shot. That's your shot.
How am I going to do this?
Whenever you want. I'm just going to do
All
it.
right,
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Really, Dallas? All right.
And there you have it. Anybody, thank you for joining us, for giving them their flowers, and this being our last interview for Black History Month. It's been amazing. I enjoyed you. Want to come say hi?
No, my hair looks a mess.
Your hair looks a mess. Your sister says she loves you, and her hair looks a mess.
You see, I done took my tracks out and whoops.
You got a
So
ball.
It grew back, so I don't care. Because I was looking like bald and Andy, but I mean,
So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an amazing interview, and let's get into next week. We'll see you tonight.
Bye.